Fatherstu is a difficult film to review. Any religious work is. Lots of people love this film, but a lot don't. And I can understand where they're coming from. I feel like if you're not really religious or you have reservations with the Catholic Church, you might walk away unsure about how to feel about this film, or just dissatisfied in some way. That being said, for me, this film struck every chord. This film is so much more than a Catholic film about priesthood and the church. It's surprisingly relatable because underneath the religious foundation is a tender story about making sense of one's life, regardless of age. This is mainly depicted with Stuart Long and his father Bill, but we'll get into that in a bit. Let's talk about the story real quick. Fatherstu tells the true story of Stuart Long, a vulgar, failed, somewhat aimless boxer who decides to venture to California in an effort to become an actor. In the process, he meets a beautiful Catholic woman named Carmen, whom he falls in love with and seeks to marry. This leads Stu to go through the rites an adult needs to become a member of the Catholic Church. After some time, Stu undergoes a horrific motorcycle accident that should have killed him, but survives. He experiences a call to the priesthood, and when he awakens, he forgoes marrying Carmen. It was no easy task, but eventually Stu is accepted into the seminary, but unfortunately develops a disease like that of Lou Gehrig's disease, one that confines him to a wheelchair. Through this, Stu loses his ability to physically perform the sacraments, and the church does not allow him to continue his studies. But through the hard work and determination of Carmen and her fellow parishioners, the bishop allows Stu to be ordained by the end of the film. And we close on Father Stu continuing to help others until his passing. Now, for such a tragic but also beautiful story, this film is not exclusively filled with heavy moments. There are many light moments and even humorous ones. A lot of this comes from Stu's endearing personality. A lot of us speak how Stu spoke, vulgar but straightforward and firm. A lot of us have strained relationships with our parents. A lot of us have failed at things yet are still searching for purpose, searching for friendship, for love. And that's what also makes Stu's story so relatable. Yes, for him, he chose a vocation with the Catholic Church, but anyone can watch this film and understand that the idea is that Stu found purpose, not that he became a priest, which means that anyone can find purpose. Stu was not young when he started out on this journey. He's in his 30s, he does not have a partner, he does not have a career, but he still manages to find both, beginning this film lost and ending this film fulfilled. The tenacity of the human spirit are especially realized when Stu manages to succeed and leave behind a lasting, meaningful legacy after being diagnosed with a fatal disease. When he gets diagnosed, he's angry, particularly with God. Who wouldn't be? But he comes to the realization that his suffering brings him closer to God. And that message still hits home, even if you take the religion out of it. Everyone has to suffer at some point in their lives in order to pick themselves up, to emerge from the fire with character.
Why do we fall? So that we can learn to pick ourselves up.
Those moments of suffering are necessary to complete the journey. And that's truly beautiful. I've heard some people say that Mark Wahlberg was miscast in this role, but I disagree. He's an outspoken Catholic who cares about his faith, so he's a strong candidate to lead this film. He also had to finance it himself with the help of some of his friends. He wanted to play this role. It was important to him that this story was told. Say what you will about his acting abilities, Mark Wahlberg nails this role. And it's a tough one to pull off because he has to maintain Stu's personality while his demeanor is changing. A great example of this is a scene towards the end of the film where Stu and a fellow priest named Jacob are speaking to some prisoners, and Jacob can barely get a word out, and Stu, while sitting down, delivers a heartwarming homily almost effortlessly. His rough and tough background is still there, but Stu has become a man of the cloth, and his past allows him to speak to prisoners on their level since he was a criminal, but his newfound faith and purpose grants him an innate ability to reach them. It's amazing. And the scene with those two towards the end when they're in confession, where you really get a clear picture of just how far Stu has come. It's just filmed so perfectly and the sentiment hits. It truly hits. Despite how good Mark Wahlberg was, Mel Gibson gives the best performance of the film as Bill Long, Stuart's father. Gibson gives a very subtle and nuanced performance, to the point where he genuinely feels like Bill Long, not Mel Gibson. The film begins with an alcoholic Bill having a strained relationship with Stu, especially since he lost his other son. He doesn't really support Stu like a father should, but the film ends with Bill helping care for Stu, learning to love again, and even seeking out help in AA meetings. Bill says so much with just his facial expressions, and tears. He holds in so much pain. This is Mel Gibson giving it his all, folks. He is still a terrific actor despite how many people might feel about him. And I especially appreciate how he never really expresses his feelings to Stu, even at the end, but his actions of caring for him say it all. There's no way the Academy will nominate Gibson, but he most certainly deserves to be for this role. This film just has a lot to offer. It boasts a strong screenplay and meticulous direction from Rosalind Ross. The result is a virtuous and thought-provoking piece of work. I haven't seen much of her other work, but I plan to. This is a religious film, no question, but its messages and takeaways apply to everyone. And that's why this film works. It invites anyone who watches it to think of their own purpose. It reminds them that it's never too late to make yourself a better person and that you should always swing for the fence. And it solidifies that one must remain gracefully steadfast amidst life's trials and tribulations to achieve their goals. But most importantly, it insists that you do not give up on your pursuits, that you keep on pushing. Failure should not and must not stop anyone. This film doesn't veer too deep with religion, it's not overly sentimental, it's down to earth, it's relatable, and it will leave an impact on you. It did for me. Thank you all so much for watching. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe to the channel. We just hit 500 subscribers. Took me 2 years, but we got there. I can't thank you all enough for that. It means the world to me, and I only hope to grow this channel. So thank you all. Have a great day, and I will see you all next week. Take care, everybody. Stay safe.